Hey guys, Slade here, and this time I'm bringing you what I'm calling the Ultimate Ship Customization Guide. It is actually a combination of two multiplayer exploits. So if you are against getting in a leg up in the game by cheating, then this is not the guide for you. Go ahead and just give me a thumbs down and walk away happy. On the other hand, if you're looking to expand your horizons on No Man's Sky and you've paid good money for the game and you want to have some fun, however you want to have your fun, then this might just be something that could really benefit you. Um, I understand that it's not for everybody, but please don't hate. You know, there are people who are under the impression that Hello Games doesn't know about the exploits going on, whether it's building or ship customization or duplication, any of the many things that are going on. I submit to you that they are probably deluded or just don't have a very good understanding. Hello Games is very much aware of what's going on. They will patch what they want, when they're ready to do so. In the meantime, there are those of us who are ready to take advantage and share that knowledge with other people, not try to keep it for themselves and then use the guys that they don't want it to get patched, so we're not going to tell you how to do it. Well, I'm not like that. I'm going to share what I know with you and let you have as much fun as I'm having with it. Okay, so with that all said, let's get down to the nuts and bolts. Um, Ship customization really is the way I do it is a combination of ship tech duplication and reskinning, um, both of which require multiplayer of sorts. The reskinning does require an active player helping you to buy the ship, etc., etc., and the ship tech duplication can actually be performed on the anomaly in the presence with ambient mode turned on. Just because in that case you're going to hand somebody an item to sort of ice the deal. Um, well, what we're going to do is we're going to deal with ship reskinning first, and as you can see, I've got a big ugly hauler here. Well, some of you find these things attractive. I personally really don't, but it is an S-Class 48 in 8 slot count. So that's pretty solid. I have erased all the tech that can be dismantled and gotten rid of that, and so I've got nothing but an empty ship here with the base stats. So reskinning requires 2 players, and I'm going to be player 2. In this case, I'm going to be the one getting the ship reskinned. Player 1, we're going to call the buyer, because that's pretty much what he is there to do, is to buy it and to split the ship. He'll be the duplicator, and I'll select one, and he'll select the other. Both players really do need to create a manual save so that if anything goes wrong, you can get right back to it and start all over again. And as always, I recommend backing up your save file on cloud or on flash drive just to make sure that if anything goes south. I haven't had any issues at all, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. So back up your save files. I almost forgot to tell you that, but that's very important. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be putting a new skin on this, and my partner that I have has already purchased a little, I know some people call them guppies. It's just a little exotic S-Class. And so we're going to put that skin on this ship. So we're going to end up with an S-Class hauler and the stats associated with it, which won't change. All we're doing is putting the skin on it. What will change is the maneuverability. It will fly like an exotic. And that dynamic with the maneuverability of the S-Class hauler, those numbers will still be, once you duplicate the tech, those numbers will go up. How they reconcile that, I honestly don't know. That verdict is still kind of out, and it's a little bit weird, and that's going to require somebody doing their own homework on that, and people smarter than me. That's not hard to do. But it will fly like an exotic when it's done, but it will retain all these base numbers for the S-Class hauler. So I've got another account booted up and already have the ship purchased. A lot of people think that some weird arcane things need to happen where the buyer has to do a scan and like try to hold it in place and this and that, or you have to be in the same group, or you know, a whole bunch of strange ideas there. Really, that's not true. Um, you don't have to be in a group. You don't have to do a weird scanning thing or try to hold it in a menu or anything like that. Just have your buyer go buy the ship and stand there and wait. I bought the ship probably a half an hour ago while I tried various versions of this video and stumbled over my words and had to redo it and everything else. As you can tell, I'm not a professional streamer, videographer, or anything. I'm just a guy trying to help other guys and gals just to enjoy the game. So anyway, yeah, without further ado, we're just going to pop over this hill where my other account is waiting on the landing platform, having already purchased the ship in question that's going to be used for the new skin on this body. So, you know, me being player 2, I will have to furnish the stat ship. In other words, I need to already have that before I have my friend come and buy me a ship. Player 1, the buyer, needs to obviously have enough money to buy whatever ship is being purchased, and you know, you can work that bit out between you two on how you want to compensate that person for spending their hard-earned units on your new ship. But that person needs to have the money available, or it's kind of all pointless. And as you can see, they're still there on the platform. The ship hasn't disappeared because we didn't use a scanner or any of that happy stuff. It's still sitting there along with my player there. As long as the internet doesn't go out and they crash or anything like that, you're golden. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to pop over to the other account and I'm going to use this character here that's already purchased a ship. Now that person cannot interact, cannot get in the ship or any other thing. That's actually the old ship there that the other account owns. What needs to happen is just needs to interact with when the ship lands. He needs to interact with the pilot of that ship, buy the ship, and then just wait for player 2 to come along. And once player 2 gets there, it's a good idea to not have player 2 in the system at the time, so that you don't interrupt the you know, the spawning of the ships or the, you know, because sometimes if you have both players on the platform, at least in the past, I don't know if they've fixed that, but in the past, the ships will stop spawning. So it's a good idea to have the buyer there, and this maybe even the system all by himself, but certainly no one else near the platform as the ships are coming in, so that when he does buy the ship, it doesn't interfere with the ships coming in. Like I said, sometimes they will just stop coming in, and you know, so, and it's not necessary to have the player 2 there anyway until the ship is bought. Okay, moving on. So my next move is that player there has paid for the ship and has not entered the ship. Player 2 then gets called in, which I'm player 2. I'm now in the area, and I'm going to switch back to player 1. Player 1 will then go into the quick menu and call his current ship, which is this guppy here, this exotic. I'm going to call it to the ground. I'm just going to lean over the railing there, and I'm going to summon that ship to the ground. What happens then is where the ship actually is duplicated. The entire exotic is duplicated, and the one that gets called to the ground is an actual exotic with all the stats and all the slot counts exactly as this ship appears when he buys it. Then player 2, this account that I'm on now, will then interact with this version of the ship, which is on the landing platform. When he enters, and I'll be able to actually enter this ship, even though I didn't buy it. When I enter that ship, it will become my ship with the stats of that ugly yellow box hauler, but it will have the skin of this beautiful exotic, and it will have the slot count and everything, all the stats associated with my hauler on this account. But it will have a beautiful skin. So without further ado, I'm going to pop over real quick onto the other account, which is in the other room, so it's going to be a moment. We'll call that ship down onto the ground. I can't show you the video for that one, but I can show you with this account entering this exotic and showing the slot count and everything like that, so that you'll be able to see what actually happens here. So One moment, now I shall return in just a brief moment. And I'm back. The other account has summoned their version of this exotic to the ground, and now this one is available for player 2 to just walk up and enter it. It's really that simple. And looking in the menu now, what you will see is a 48 slot S-Class, beautiful little guppy exotic. It still does have all the base stats of the original hauler. However, the maneuverability has gone up to 423.7, which I just noticed that, and that answers a lot of questions for me. All the other stats stay the same, but the maneuverability has jumped up from 200 something to 423.7, so that stat does change. That's a beautiful thing. That, in a nutshell, is ship reskinning, and I hope you enjoyed that part of it. It really isn't rocket science. Like I said, there's people put out videos that, you have to use a scanner and you have to hold it in place and blah, blah, blah. None of that's true. It's really just as simple as having a guy buy a ship and just stand there and wait patiently for player 2 to come into the system. And again, it's great to have player 2 far away from the action. You can actually, don't even have to be online or in a group or anything like that. I actually called a guy in who was offline, and he joined my game all the way from outside the confines of the game, and came into my system and purchased a ship. This can be done also, for those of you wondering, using the No Man's Sky coordinate exchange, which is the only coordinate exchange that I use. I don't use any imposters that I won't name right now, but coordinate exchange is a very, very awesome tool, and I recommend it highly. Having said that, you can go through the portal. I recommend both players use the same portal, but you can access the same place through the portal. You can't join someone's game who has crossed through the portal already. Well, I won't say you can't, but I think you get better results, and more science needs to be done on that. But you can both enter through the portal to find the ship that you're looking for that skin, and it can still be performed. And again, like I say, but just buy the ship. Don't try to hold it on a platform. I've seen ships disappear trying to be in a group and trying to maintain these things that aren't necessary. It works just as well in ambient mode, and actually I think it works better because I think the multiplayer function works better in ambient mode than it does trying to hold on to a group. I think you get kind of, until they get the server issues established a little bit better, there are things that can go wrong. So I recommend not being in a group at all. So there you have it. You've got this beautiful guppy. So that's step 1 of what I'm calling ultimate ship customization. The other involves the duplicating of tech. And what we're looking at here, we're talking about photon cannon, shield, hyperdrive, but you can also add new stuff, cyclotron ballista. It works for pretty much all tech, and it works along the same lines as what you probably already know as being ship item duplication. This is working for tech. Keep in mind that when you're doing ship tech duplication, anything that you can't dismantle, like the photon cannon, the shield, the hyperdrive, the launch thruster, and the pulse engine, these 5 things you cannot dismantle. And once you duplicate it, you still can't dismantle them. So be sure that you want these things. You want to duplicate these, and you definitely aren't going to not want them after a while. Because, like I said, once you've duplicated them, you can't get rid of them, unless you want to go back and reload your manual save and start all over again, which I highly recommend anytime you go into this. So you probably want to create a nice save, and I'm going to jump right out here, and actually do that now. I'm going to create a manual save. If I can remember how to do that. It is pretty tricky. And there we go. So we've got a manual save created. Now we can pretty much do what we like. With relative impunity, and if we don't like it, we can go back and reload the save and start again. Well, okay, so step one in ship loop duplication. Step one is make sure that you have nothing in the technology page, nothing in the technology page slot page. You can have whatever you like in here, but this must always start off as empty. You must have you start off with a save, an auto save. Okay, this is key. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in, and we're going to jump back out of the ship. Now we've got an auto save, okay, with a completely empty tech slot page. Okay, as you can see. What we're then going to do, we are going to, let's say we want. I'm definitely going to want more maneuverability on my ship. Okay, so since Pulse Engine affects that directly, I want to duplicate that. So we're just going to move this from the general page to the technology slot page, and we've just moved that there. So we've moved it from the general to the tech slot page, and now it's really just as simple as handing an item to your buddy or pal from your general inventory in your exosuit. So we're going to go to, and this mimics, the old Quicksilver anomaly glitch, and also the item duplication, normal item duplication. I'm just going to hand them an item. In this case, we're going to send them 5 stasis devices, and it must be from your general inventory from your exosuit. And we're just going to send this over to my friend. Once I see that the sent message was successful and it's disappeared out of my inventory, what I'm now going to do is reload my autosave. So I'm going to go in here and go to options, and here's another reason why you don't want to be in a group, because if you're in a group it will send you to quit to mode select, which we don't want to do. We just want to reload the autosave. When we do that, what happens is it leaves the item in the tech slot where you put it, but it duplicates it, and it reinitializes it in the general page. So you have essentially duplicated it. It's recreated the one in the general slot, and it leaves the one in the tech slot right where you put it. So when we come back here, you're going to see one in each of the pages. Dun, dun, dun. Here's where we play the waiting music. And I don't sing well, so that's not going to happen. But just imagine, if you will, some cool sci-fi, 65 days of static music. Okay. Or play the Jeopardy theme, whatever you like. You're probably listening to your music anyway right now, so it doesn't matter. Okay, and we're back. And we're just going to have a look here, see what we've got. Go over to our ship. As you can see, the pulse engine has returned to its original place, but it is also in the tech slot page. So now we have 2 pulse engines. That's it. That's pretty much it. You just rinse and repeat. Now you have to start off again with an auto save with an empty tech slot page. So what we're going to do here, if we want to continue to duplicate the tech, we're going to simply move it back here. We'll stack it with that one, and as you can see, maneuverability doesn't look like it's changed here, but it will. When you add your S-class modules, it will raise exponentially up um, as they stack. The different dynamics of stacking the different technologies are varied. For instance, if I add a cyclotron ballista, it only takes one or two of those, and I'm up to 1,000,000 damage potential. Now, guys, use with extreme care when you're talking about this, because you can easily, with just one or two duplications of a weapon, blind yourself when you can't even see what you're shooting at. So it's really not necessary to do more than one or two pieces of that, where other things are a little bit more. Excuse me, just a minute. I have to ignore this phone call. Um, So yeah, use with extreme caution. Always back up your save files and create manual saves to come back to. But remember to use auto saves when duplicating. And that's essentially it, guys. I hope this video has helped you out, and that you have your wildest dreams. You create the customized ship of your dreams. In mine is probably a 48 slot. Beautiful little exotic with a ridiculous maneuverability, punched out hyperdrive range, and overclock damage potential, and indestructible shields. I don't know why you'd want too much more than that, but hopefully this video has helped you. You're enjoying your game, and we will talk to you later.